Salutations, everyone. I'm SirNetsX, and today we are back again with Missing Stars. Last episode was a decently long one. I don't know how much I don't know actually how long this demo is, but so far I've been enjoying the music and the ambience of it. Hopefully all the recording is coming out well. I don't want anything that seemed too overpowering or anything like that, but I hope this game really kicks off. I really like the demo. I will have all the links in the description to this, such as their website and their Discord. Anything you want to know about this, I'll try to keep it in the description. But I would really like to see you guys download this and play it. I would like to see the support for this game, because so far it is a really good game, and the demo is totally worth it. But as we've seen in the last episode, we did our first few days. He saw the school for the first time, and today we are waking up our first day at school. Let's see how it goes. A shaft of pale sunlight wakes me up from a shallow, restless sleep before my alarm. Despite the bright morning sun, my room feels chilly and I shiver in my thin pajamas. I wonder if it actually is chilly, or if the endless cycle of negative thoughts in my head is just making me think it is. You'd think the room would retain heat better with the window being 3 times thicker than I'm used to, but it might as well be a hole in the wall. Not even a day is here, and the window's thickness is already bothering me. It's such a small detail, and I'm not even sure I noticed it if it hadn't been pointed out. But now I can't just seem to stop thinking about it. I roll out of bed and try opening it. It's heavy, but it does open. Why wouldn't it? They said my room has been fitted for a low-risk student. The air streaming in through the cracks smells faintly and freshly cut grass and dew. It's numbingly cold, but I let it linger for a moment. Just as much as having that window here in the first place feels stifling, knowing that it can be open feels relatively comforting. Small measure of control over my life, tiny and inconsequential. Maybe it's something. I take one final deep breath to clear my head and shut the window. Control's fine and all, but probably isn't worth coming back to a freezing room. I should get ready for school. No sense in getting all mopey about nothing before I even started. I put on my glasses and check my phone for the first time. 6:55. Just too late to get a bit more sleep. Ugh. With an involuntary groan, I grab my clothes bag and hit the shower. By the time I've come back clean and dressed, someone sent me a text message. Morning, bro. Sleep well, cheer up no matter what. Less than 3. Hope you have a wonderful day and know you make a ton of friends. The rest is just a bunch of emojis that, if nothing else, represents her perfectly. I stare at the screen until it turns off by itself, wondering what I should send in return. It did feel good to read it. It's nice to know that she cares. It's just no matter how much I try to force on a smile and absorb some of Beatrice's enthusiasm through her text, I just can't bring myself to feel that kind of cheer. It's not even like I'm really sad, more like emotionally neutral, numb. I turn the screen back on and tap out a quick reply. Slept okay, thanks, talk to you later, smiley face. There, I even add a little smiley face at the end so she doesn't worry too much. Now I'm feeling illiterate as well as disingenuous. Good start to the day, even if there ever was one. Giving the rest of the room one final look over to make sure I haven't forgotten anything, I grabbed my bag and the map from my bedside table and sat to my first class. Despite it already, or after being 7, the male dormitory courtyard is almost empty now, as it was last night. I thought there'd be a crowd of students moving in the general direction of the school, but as far as I can see, the few that are out seem content to sit on benches and chat. A few are even jogging around the tracksuits. Don't these guys have class in a little bit? I shuffle slowly through the courtyard, throwing on the occasional glance this way, but to see if anyone looks like they're in kind of a hurry. More and more students are leaving the dorms, and they're all moving about here and there, but there's no prevailing direction to their movement. At least a few acknowledge my presence, waving or smiling at me when I pass and smile and nod, but nothing much more than that. Either I'm missing something about campus culture or I'm being late for first period is standard around here. I actually scratched that. It's probably just first day nerves on my part. The anxiety over getting to my first class on time is overbearing. Either way, I think I'll be better getting moving. Wouldn't have anything to say to them anyway. After deciding against eating in the crowded cafeteria and taking breakfast to the form of a vending machine cereal bar, I drift back into the lobby and see if I can remember the way to the form room. As I enter, I feel a surge of relief as I see a familiar face for the first time that morning. A tutor, Miss Clays. It looks as she was waiting for someone, standing amidst a gaggle of other students and looking forward. Apparently she was waiting for me, as when our eyes met, she walks briskly in my direction. A stern expression on her face, the students instinctively part before her and merge back together in her wake. Surely I'm not already in trouble. Eric, I'm glad you found your way here. I wasn't sure if you had been shown the way to your dorm room, so I thought it was best to wait for you here. It seems I'm not in trouble as I feared, despite her almost frightening expression and short, clipped manner of speech. Oh, thank you, but didn't have to. Ela showed me where it was yesterday. Plus, I have a map. She gives me a curt nod and chimes in approval with a small Good, good. Glad to hear Ela did a good job of her introducing you to the buildings. Shall we be off then? With only the most cursory pause for me to confirm, she's turned on her heel and started walking away as briskly as she approached. Apparently, she wants to walk me to my form room. I hurry along, but her pace is faster than mine, forcing me to half-hop awkwardly to match her. Within a few seconds, she glances around to me and seems to notice my struggling, her expression shifting to become more apologetic. She slows down to a much more comfortable place, and I'm able to catch up and walk next to her instead of trailing behind. As we walk up to the set of stairs, I feel my palms start to sweat a little bit. I hadn't realized how nervous I was, but honestly, I have no idea what to expect from this place. I don't know what's going on to be expected of me when we reach the form room. Will I have to introduce myself? The sharp clack-clack of Mrs. Clare's heels echo against the stone walls for some reason, bringing the ticking of a time bomb to my mind. Dude, that is like the most cautious noise ever. If you hear the heels of the floor, like the heels of a teacher on the floor, it is like the most notable sound of school ever. As we reach the top of the stairs and enter another corridor, rather more clinical than their last, she seems to pick up on my nerves, cocking her head as she looks at me. Her expression softens somewhat. Nervous? Despite her apparent concern, her voice remains quite harsh. I suppose I can forgive her. I wouldn't know how to behave in her shoes. Honestly, yeah. That's perfectly understandable. It's completely natural to feel nervous in new situations. I can tell Miss Clay is gently trying to reassure me, but she isn't very good at it. It comes off as feeling sort of forced and awkward. Especially in circumstances like these. Yeah, no kidding. But I assure you, you really have nothing to worry about. Miss Clay stops in front of a door and turns to me. Apparently, this is my form room. She glances at the door and then to me. To my surprise, she actually gives me a small smile. I wasn't sure if this would be something she was capable of after all. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to the class, then you can take a seat. Damn it. Of course, there it is. I have to introduce myself. Suck it up, Eric. You've done that stuff like this before. Yeah. With nothing but another terse nod in acknowledgement, she opens the door and steps inside. I only noticed that the noise that had been coming from the classroom in its absence as if it dies down almost immediately. I stare at the doorway. Now or never. I take a deep breath in a failed attempt to steady my nerves and follow the teacher inside, where she's already begun to address the class. Simmer down, everyone. Simmer down. I'd like you all to give a warm welcome to Eric Wilhelm. He's going to be joining our class today. I can't help but to be aware of the faces of staring my direction. As Ela said, the class is small, only a dozen or so students, yet I can't help to feel intimidated. Though most of them seem vacant or indifferent, I can't help but assume... I can't help but assume they're all wondering the same thing. Why are you here? What's wrong with you? And as I look around the class, I find myself wondering the same thing about them. A sudden tap-tap sound drags me back to reality, and I suddenly realize I've been spacing out here in front of the whole class, gawking at nothing. I turn to see Miss Clays tapping her foot impatiently. Now that she has my attention, she clears her throat before continuing. Eric, why don't you introduce yourself to the class, briefly? My brain frantically searches for anything interesting to say. Why didn't I think of something when she told me at the first time? But nope, I got nothing. I hear someone snicker quietly, but then I catch a glimpse of Ela, who gives me a small smile and a double thumbs up. I decide to open my mouth and let it out do the talking without engraving my brain at all. Hi, I'm Eric. A short pause. Apparently, that's all my mouth is giving me. Great start. Thank you, moron. I used to like hiking and other things. Insightful. This is probably the part where I'm impressed that with some cool trivia I gleaned from my years in the mountains to show off my experience. The words fail to come in my ears and continue to tangle. Besides the barely hidden disinterest in their faces tell me they aren't the type to care or learn. For instance, the closest place to space on Earth is not Mount Everest. Closest place to Earth is to space, and it's not Mount Everest, but Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. And I just started here today. Jesus Christ, man. So hello. Yep, that's done. That's done. I'm a laughing stock. Surely I'll never be one of those cool kids after that. Thankfully, though, no one seems to care anymore, and more at the end of it than they did at the beginning of it. It might be that in a few years I could maybe possibly begin to forget that ever happened. Thank you, Eric. Now, if you would please take your seat and get on. We'll get on with the day. He's like, damn it. She indicates a seat at the far right of the classroom. I consider taking the desk next to the one she indicated. It's empty, and it's right between the window. Imagine how asocial I could be. Instead, though, I resolve and be a little bit more social and position myself further towards the center of the class, and at the adjacent desk. I hurry over, attempting to make myself as small as possible, though I realize the fact it could combine with my slight limp gave me appearance of some sort of hunched over and conspicuous goblin person. I take my seat as Miss Clays begins rattling off the morning's announcements. She seems to give it only their most perfunctory attention, and most students are either idly chatting, fidgeting, or simply not paying attention. Everybody seems to have completely lost interest in me already. Am I okay with this? Yeah, I'm not sure. Before I built up the courage to introduce myself to some of the students around me, though the bell's already ringing for the next period. Most of the students around me and all those directly adjacent to my desk get up to move off to their next lesson. I remain where I am, though. I have maths with Miss Clays. The class quietly fills up with other students again. This time looks like the desk next to mine by the window might be occupied. A girl enters the classroom and makes a beeline for it. She notices me. She falters, visibly shocked, and seems my new unexpected presence might not be entirely welcome. She regains her composure quickly, though, fixing back in her resolutely, neutral expression, and taking her seat by the window without saying a word to me or aside from a slight hesitation acknowledging my existence at all. The first thing that catches my eye is about her, and how little she catches my eye. Sitting still and staring out the window, oblivious to the rest of the class, wearing a hoodie rather than a standard blazer everyone else seems to wear. I wonder how she gets away with that. Despite being out of uniform, she almost blends into the wall. If she hadn't sat next to me, I doubt I would have noticed her at all. She hasn't looked my way, and the fancy-looking metallic earbuds in her ears make trying a verbal introduction seem foolish. I'm not sure why I'm focusing on this girl over any other students in the class. Maybe her inconspicuousness makes her somehow more conspicuous. Miss Clay taps the whiteboard and clears her throat for the class's attention. Okay, so today we'll be reviewing the material we covered in the previous lesson. These worksheets. She brandishes a sheaf of papers. I don't know. English, okay. Comprise a thorough test of it all, to be finished by the end of the lesson, please. As she starts handing them down the class, she looks at me, an expression of realization on her face. Ah, Eric, of course you won't know what we covered last time. Would you like to partner up with someone? Take your pick. I imagine it'd be good to get to know some of your fellows. I'm not sure what to say except sure, which I do sheepishly. Scanning the material on the sheet Miss Clays has placed in front of me, it doesn't seem to be too challenging. Maths isn't exactly my forte, but this is relatively simple stuff. I might have missed the previous lesson, but it's nothing I couldn't have handled on my own. Still, I wouldn't have to partner up. I introduce myself and socialize a bit. That'd be a normal thing to do. Well, who knows the normal thing here. Might as well try, though. The girl next to me is still staring out the window, the muffled and tiny beat of her headphones bleeding into the room around her, barely audible to me over the noisy class. Presumably in time with the music she's listening to, her fingers are drumming out the beat in her desk in front of her. Actually, looks more like someone's playing imaginary piano than imaginary drums. Her fingers appear spider-like sprawled across the desk. I wonder if she's aware that she's doing that. She must be really into whatever she's listening to. In my distraction, it seems like everyone else in the class already partnered up or started the work with themselves, leaving this girl as my only choice. Working with someone who seems so strongly not to want to be noticed probably isn't a good idea, and I'm sure I could take care of the relatively simple-looking worksheet by myself, but Miss Clay did seem very keen for me to work with a partner. I wonder if she'd even hear me if I talked to her. Hello? You have to start with a hello. She turns her head in my direction, though still doesn't face me properly, instead focusing on some spot on the wall behind me. It's not much, but at least she's noticed my presence and no longer gazing absent-mindedly out the window. I can already feel this is going to be difficult. I'm Eric. In a daring move, I stretch out a hand in introduction. The look of confusion and surprise on her face is almost pitiful. This girl almost looks worried and shocked beyond belief, turning away from me again. Is this some sort of unforgivable fox paws I'm unaware of? I'm about to withdraw my hand and apologize when she gingerly grabs it through her sleeve. She shakes my hand with her thumb and her index finger so delicately that if I hadn't watched it happen, I might have not noticed, her abruptly dropping it and withdrawing. Somehow she looks more surprised than before. Her eyebrows look like they're just about ready to fly off her face as she stares at her own hand as if it just committed some foul act of betrayal. Aside from in that one brief moment of shock, she still hasn't looked at me in the eye. I feel pretty bad for worrying her and try to think of a way to move the conversation past this. Nice headphones. Clearly noticing my attempt to move past the initial horrific mistake, she turns in my direction again and then smiles slightly, haltingly, looking only a little less hesitant than before. But this time definitely and deliberately looking me in the eye. Once again, I notice music faintly leaking out, maybe just it's very faint, but I don't recognize it at all. What are you listening to? She shrugs and looks thoughtful for a moment. Sliding her headphones out of her ears, she moves to get something out of her bag. Maybe it's time to give up, as she really isn't going to communicate with me. But then from her bag she pulls out a smartphone and her headphones are connected to it and shows me the screen. Music player open, I catch a glimpse of what she's listening to. I've never heard the artist and the album art. The album is a couple of people sitting on a cliff by the sea. It doesn't give anything away about the type of music. Oh, cool. What do you say in this situation? It's not like I'm going to get a response if I ask what kind of music it is. Do you like it? That's fucking stupid. Yeah, she's listening to it because she hates it. Do you like it? Clearly, judging from her expression, she understands the problem in communication as well. Nonetheless, her only response is to nod and smile almost imperceptibly. Being able to think of anywhere else to take the conversation, I change tack and tap the worksheet on my desk with a pencil. You want to work on these together? She nods again. She seems to be getting over the initial shock of me talking to her, but anything else about her seems difficult to gauge. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to work on these together, seeing as she's apparently incapable of speech. Alright, let's divide up the work. I suppose I'll do odd numbers and you do evens? Without a word, she nods one final time, takes a copy of the sheet from me, scans the second question for only a few seconds, and starts scribbling nonchalantly in the page from her workbook. Doesn't exactly look like she's writing. Her hand movements are weirdly erratic, but who am I to say? It seems like she's glad to have an excuse not to interact anymore. Okay, then. I sigh and settle down to my work with only the occasional glance at the strange girl sitting next to me. A quarter of an hour later, as I'm in the middle of my work sheet, a paper falls unceremoniously into my desk. I look at my serious neighbor who is already staring at the window once more, headphones back in her ears. I take a look at her worksheet. Her edges of the paper are covered in small doodles and scribblings. Apparently, that's how this girl works. Nevertheless, she's managed to finish all of the even number questions. And here I thought she wasn't doing any work. I finish up quickly and pass my answers up to her. Sorry, I don't know if it's alright. Seems simple enough, though. Without even acknowledging me, she turns to her desk and starts writing again. After a minute of copying down my answers, she stands up, walks to the front of the class, and hands Miss Clays her work. As Miss Clays has thanked her, she seems to hesitate, glancing furtively in the direction of my desk. I feel like I shouldn't have been watching her, so I look out the window instead, by keeping her in my peripheral vision. After a few seconds of consideration, she seems to come to a decision. She heads back over to her desk and sits down again. She takes a deep breath and glances at me once again, though I don't think she knows I can see her, as I'm doing a good job of keeping her exclusively out of my direction of line of sight. Another few seconds that feels strangely tense as she exhales, shakes her head, grabs her bag, and exits swiftly. I look up the clock. There's still 10 minutes of the lesson to go, but Miss Clay said nothing about the girl leaving early. The girl, huh? Didn't even learn her name. I already know how to feel about what just happened. Somehow, despite having done very little, I feel exhausted. First period isn't even over yet, and I sink into my chair ready to admit defeat. Is every day gonna be as awkward as this? The cafeteria already half full by the time I make it. I don't even need to limp all the way inside to tell you. I can hear students inside talking right from the hallway. I'd hope for some half-empty table, but wherever I look, it's just people sitting and talking. Some conversation of their food, others are shouting jokes and insults to friends on the other side of the room. A few actually look like they finished and don't feel like getting up. A line of students holding out trays and clutching handfuls of plastic utensils stretched through the hall and chattering excitedly at each other. Before coming here, I had a mental image of patients queuing up at the institution, lining up their sterile gowns for the nurse to fill their little polystyrene cups with a ration of color-coded pills. I knew that couldn't be that bad, but part of me wouldn't believe that. I was afraid that coming here would bring that back up, but reality just doesn't want to sustain it. That bleak fantasy demands an air of opposite silence, but everyone here is so lively and active, it demands a smell of antiseptic and bleach. But all I can make out is meat and pastries and sliced fruits. That's great. That's better than great. It's reassuring. It's normal. Why do I feel like I just can't blend in? Everyone just so busy doing things that they know how to do, talking to people they're already friends with. Everyone looks like they've had such a clear direction, and I don't even know where to start. I'm not really with these people. What if we talk and they don't like me? What if they make fun of my limp just because they are childish? Fears don't mean they don't matter. And that's not just that, too. They all look fine right now, but you can't forget where I am. This place can't be like any other school by definition. Their rules for fitting here can't be possibly the same. What if I make some terrible fox pause because I don't know how things work here, and they take it as offense? I stop a few paces past the door before taking my own tray. I don't need this headache right now. So it's a little deftest, but I generally think that at this point I'll be getting some fresh air would be better. Vending machine food was good enough for me this morning. If it means not having to sit down in here, it's going to do just fine now. I didn't have much of an appetite anyway, and I can always come back Didn't have much of an appetite anyway, and I can always come back here once I've made myself a little more comfortable. I've got almost the entire year ahead of me. There'd be nothing to gain from forcing myself over 10 more minutes. There's a sitting area next to the cafeteria, complete with benches, vending machines. A few students are gathered around it, but they seem to be going through pretty quickly. I pull out my wallet and get in line, hoping no one will try to talk to me. Thankfully, most just take their sandwiches and leave rather than lingering around. Soon the corridor is left blissfully silent, and the only person besides me is the tall blonde girl in front of me, the line. She hums softly to herself as she approaches the machine, thinking about it now. Maybe she has been for a while, and it just had hard to hear because of everyone else. It's not something you normally notice, but crazy as it sounds, she hums really well. The tune is clear yet complex enough to catch the ear. The high and low notes mix so seamlessly you barely notice them shifting. I've heard people singing on purpose, but not sounding so good. I lift my eyes to her in time to see her reaching down for her purse. Before she can pull out any change, she instead stops humming and turns around to face me. Oh, it's Eye Patch Girl! Boom! I seen her in the Discord server. She was like first babe before the game came out. What draws my attention though is her eyes, or rather eye. I reckon she has one, the left. Piercing golden brown, expertly made up long masqueraded lashes. By contrast, if she even still has it, her right one is covered with large sterile medical bandage. Call it stupid, but my first instinct is to point it out somehow, maybe ask her if she's okay. Because, you know, she's got a bandage over her right eye. What if she hadn't noticed? Luckily, I think better of it before I can open my mouth. Would you like to go before me? Is she talking to me? She's looking right at me. All signs do seem to be pointing towards that being the case. No, it's all right. You go ahead. Please, I insist. It's no trouble. She steps aside and quietly looking at me, motions to the hand towards her place. Even when not humming, her voice has a clear musical quality. I'm not sure if she's making fun of me or if she's just being polite, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth or potentially set off a crazed person. Moving forward, I pick a different kind of sandwich from yesterday and a bottle of lemonade to wash it down with before sitting down on a nearby bench. I sat aside with a bottle and bite into my sandwich. As soon as I started to enjoy it, I'm interrupted by the girl. Excuse me, would you mind if I sat here with you? Aww, we're gonna make friends! Looking up, I see her standing there on the bench for me, daintily gesturing towards it as if intending to illustrate the concept of sitting. Mouth too full to do much but mumble, but I make an indifferent shrug. She nods and then sees her purse slowly down the bench and sits down. Her smile is warm, refreshingly friendly after yesterday's class. I try to force myself to focus on it, rather than how creepy her one good eye looks, and it moves up and down to examine me. I get so absorbed in following her brow, iris spinning about. I think at the time I've noticed to her talking me, she's already had to repeat herself once. What? That sandwich. She speaks in a patient, almost motherly tone. Why did you choose it? That machine offers several kinds of sandwiches. Why did you pick this one? What an odd question. I guess I could just not answer, but she looks perfectly serious. Besides, she did not move aside from me in the line. She did move aside the line, so it'd be weird to say silent now. I made it clear I did hear her. Let's see. I didn't have anything last night, and all I had for breakfast was a cereal bar. I don't know. I was hungry. It felt like a good choice. I mean, it's a sandwich, right? How could it be hard to screw something like that up? I see. Do you like it then? Yeah, sure. It's egg or something, I think. Got some vegetables in it. Definitely beats having nothing. Hunger is the best sauce in the world, isn't it? Yeah, didn't even realize how hungry I was until now. Don't we wish you had a cent for every time that happened? One moment you're having a interesting thought, and next time you look at the clock and you've already missed dinner. Sorry, I wish I'd been an interesting thought rather than just, I don't know, not feeling like it or whatever. I take another experimental bite to see if she objects, and she doesn't. Her eyes keep following me, though turning silently under the lid while the girl sits in silence. Did I do something wrong? Did I give her a wrong answer? Not to sound rude or anything, but why exactly did you ask me that? You know, just so we're all clear about that. Her lips stretch into a coy smile. Protocol. I put down my sandwich and swallow, waiting for her to elaborate, but she doesn't say anything more. I'm not sure I understand. You have to forgive me. The truth is I'm really new here. Like, I'm only arrived last night. This is my first day around here. I don't really know how this works. She puts the back of her hand to her mouth and stifle a giggle. I think I made a flash of gauze on her wrist when her sleeve flits. I hope it was just my imagination. Well, I wouldn't go so far to say that I have to forgive you, but given your circumstances and saying how as you haven't done anything wrong that I know, fine. Is she a tsundere? I forgive you. Joking. Gee, thanks. Her smile, you almost think she was going to answer, "You're welcome." Instead, her expression softens. When she next speaks, she does her tone. I know it might not feel that way right now, but all of us have been in your place at one time or another. Or I know that I have been, at least. She turns her head to glance towards both sides of the empty hallway. So all of us, as far as I'm aware. I hope that you realize that. I do. Thanks, but it doesn't really make it feel any better. It didn't last time I was told that either. The girl nods matter-of-factly. It almost never does. Still, there's a reason they keep drumming it into you, even if it's obnoxious or sometimes feels like a slogan. It is simply a true statement. I think there's a value in that, whether or not it makes you feel better. Are you not comfortable eating with all of the others? It sounds stupid when you say it like that. Does it? I apologize then. It wasn't my intention. I will not say it's a fine sentiment, but I don't think it is. I think that is. And you don't look like you need to hear that. All I'd say on the matter right now is that's understandable one. Take that for what it's worth. Oh dear, I'm yawning. Maybe it is. I know, just a matter of time or whatever. It's just, look, I don't want to talk about this. I don't even know what's the problem. Maybe I'm just tired. Woke up a bit earlier than I'm used to, and now it's like that morning days won't pass. Next time that happens, try going for a walk. It might help just to get your blood running. That's what I do when I wake up too early. Okay, thanks, I guess. I'm torn between looking back at her and looking away, and I know, or at least I hope that she doesn't mean to, but I really do feel stupid right now. It's weird, but I can't tell if I'm glad or embarrassed. Just as I made up my mind to pathetically gaze at my sandwich, the blonde girl talks. It isn't as silly as you thought, as you might be thinking right now. I won't claim to know what your troubles are, and it's not my place to ask. Remember, though, that whatever they might be, you probably aren't the first here to have had them. We've all developed our own small ways of copying, even if that means eating an occasional meal outside the cafeteria. Coping. Oops. I'm here for a similar reason. In fact, I'll admit I don't usually like to eat by myself, but every once in a while, even if I feel like having some space. Would you rather I go? She shakes her head lightly, motioning with her hand to remain seated down. No, but it's sweet that you ask. I was the one who started this talk, wasn't I? It's not every day that you meet a new student. Ah, she's cute. With a long, graceful step, she stands up in front of me. It looks like, yeah, she does look like she has a bandage wrapped around her arm. Oh, I love the artwork in this game. I like how her hair is kind of messy. With a long, graceful step, she stands up in front of me. My name is... I'm just gonna call her Kat. I think that makes sense for me. My name's Kat Bohm from Mr. Rosenstein's class. You may call me. You may call me Kat if you wish. I'm originally from Linz, Austria, though I've been living in Vienna for the past few years now. I'm sure that you've already been given the customary tour, but nevertheless, allow me the honor of welcoming you to our school. Ah, this is great. I hope your stay will be pleasant and beneficial. So I'm guessing the demo will introduce us to all the main characters and then probably click off there. That's what I'm thinking. She adds a little flourish of her hand and bow, and now I honestly can't tell if she's serious. Her smile looks like something from a poster, even the way the light reflects off her lipstick. It looks like art. Even now, inscrutable, teasing, humorous? Will she start laughing soon, or is that just a thing they do in Austria? I try to remember if anyone introduced themselves like this aside the school. How awkward it would be to find this actually normal. And all the time I've been one who's being impolite. That can't be the case, right? Someone would have definitely said something. This is just Kajita's thing. Kajita, damn it. Her unusual anachronistic, incredibly striking thing. I think I'd put her somewhere between Eli and Irene on the weirdness scale. Leaning heavily towards the first, I mean, she is being polite. I can't complain about the view either. Wait, is that also intentional? Just as I begin averting my eyes, she sits back down like nothing's happened. Wow, thanks. My name's Eric Wilhelm. I guess you can call me Eric? I'm not sure why she added that part, but whatever. That's just standard protocol or Katja's own idea of manners. I don't see reason not to follow. I'm from Miss Clay's class, and I'm originally from Basel, Switzerland, the city, not the canton. She nods carefully, looking far more interested than I have thought anyone should be. I thought one was inside the other. Well, yes, but not everyone knows that, and it could certainly be confusing. Also, the second's technically called Baselstedt, if you care about it. So much as you do, I do admire specifically. When I don't respond, she straightens up in her chair and gives me another short, dignified bow. It's a pleasure to meet you, Eric. A thinker, and the air grows gradually silent. Neither of us say a word. Just for the record, you know, I don't normally eat vending machine sandwiches either. I never have thought to imply that. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's disgusting or anything, but it's sort of bland, right? That is true, as you said yourself, though. There's a reason you've chosen to. Because it's lunchtime and that's just what was here. Katja snickers. It's a beautiful ringing sound. Precisely. I can emphasize with that choice. The choice to go with whatever's in front of you. The choice to eat for its own sake when you know you couldn't enjoy it. I don't think there's anything shameful about it. If anything, I think it's wise. It wouldn't do you good not to eat, and would have felt wasteful to me to eat something I might have enjoyed when my mind wasn't really on it. I might have just made me feel worse. I take one more peek at my sandwich that hasn't turned into something profound while I wasn't looking. Should I feel more offended or more complimented that Katja's giving me judgment for my judgment that much credit? Now what she's saying is wrong, but I'm still not the kind of things you normally actually think of. Unless that is the thought to eat. Unless it's a thought to eat when you're hungry, it doesn't just come to you naturally, but I probably really shouldn't be going that way. Frankly, I'm not really sure where to go from here. What is with this girl? This is just getting silly. If I'm not eating, I might as well ask a question that's been bothering me. Can I ask you something? Feel free to. I might even answer. Ooh, the sass. Huh. Good to know I got nothing to lose then. Why that last part of the introduction with the the cities and countries and all that, it sounds like something formal. Do they just do that in Austria in general, or just here? Once again, protocol. This is just as you may have already noticed, rather multinational instruction. There are some students from all over Europe, and everyone, and even a few outside it, knowing where someone came from can be helpful gauging on how to approach them. Specifically, it often means knowing what languages they might speak. English is the most common teaching language. I think you should already know that. So if it tends to be defaulted to unless there's a shared one. But since there's so few students who come from the Anglosphere, this means there's more often that. Both sides are made equally uncomfortable. I'd like to believe neither wants that. I'm assuming you speak native German. I know I'd be more comfortable if I was speaking with my native language. I nod vaguely, aware that the sandwich in my hand is still not even half eaten. Yes, Bastelstraat right across the Rhine from Germany, so that's what we speak of. Is that unusual? Ganz int gar nicht. I did study a bit of German. I would like to get back into it, so that's kind of familiar. I probably fucking butchered it because I never learned to speak it. I just learned to read a little bit. I sit dumbfounded for what feels like too far long before my brain switches gears back to German. Either Kajita hasn't noticed or she doesn't mind. Her German is as rapid and precise as her English before. All in all, I suppose that's good. It's a good thing. Most students are still from around Austria, and those tend to speak German, with the exception of a significant French minority. As I said, though, it can lead to trouble in those cases. They're not. Sounds simple enough. I should probably remember that for the next time I run into someone. Hey, it's not all that bad, right? Encouraging a little multilingualism and all that. That does make you sound very Swiss. No, I'm serious. They say that there are proven benefits to child development, I think. She rests back in her seat with an intrigued expression. Is that so? Do you think they tried that research on high schoolers? Well, no, I think mostly just applies to young children. But, like, you know, I'm cool with that. Young children? Multilingualism. Damn it, English. I'm bad at English. She lets out a quiet laugh, crossing her arms and absentmindedly letting her gaze wander up the corridor. That's interesting. Do you think that it works every time? Do the languages have to be similar or something of that sort? I shrug half-heartedly. I don't even know why this is a topic came up. She's asking me like I'm some kind of expert. But honestly, most of that's just stuff I think I remember reading once on a popular science magazine. I could be talking out of my ass. I guess it can depend on a lot of things. She doesn't respond, and I'm left to finish my sandwich. If you ignore her weird manner of speech, gotta catch a ball. Katja's not all that bad. It's a shame about the eye patch, but even with it, she's striking. I was gonna say, if you say she's ugly because of an eye patch, you're a dick. I bet she puts a lot of effort into keeping herself looking like she does, and I'd be lying if I said it doesn't work. Makes you wonder if she's even been rejected or something just because of the eye. I mean, it's only just one little part, but it happens to be one everyone looks at it to first. I can't blame someone who saw that and didn't want to get any near, especially if they also noticed the gauze on her wrists. You still haven't explained that part of the protocol where you asked me about the sandwich. Correct, our conversation topic has changed, and I didn't see all that much need to. You could have called it a precaution for them confronting newly met students. A precaution against what? Offering them the wrong sort of appetizer? She smirks slightly, but doesn't laugh. To be honest, the question itself doesn't matter much. It's the way it's answered that does. Meaning? Whether there is reply and how clear it is, whether it makes sense, whether it is stammered or mumbled or implies offense. It's a crude instrument, but it can be invaluable in gauging how to proceed or even if talking to someone new. She says it with the flagrant carelessness of someone who knows what they're saying something outrageous, at least she understands that is. Wait, so if I'd answer more slowly or not to the point, or if I didn't, you'd have known to keep talking to me in little words? That would have been reckless of me. However, given the personal experience, I would have been able to make a better informed guess. If I guessed wrong, I could have apologized. Sounds like a small comfort if you made that kind of wrong assumption about someone. But we're just assuming that they think that they and talk just like yourself and behaving on that, potentially saying someone hurts them, using figures of speech that wouldn't understand, pushing them to talk when they don't even want to. It's an unfortunate truth of our life here that not everyone can be approached in the same ways. Some students don't get the metaphors, others are not always in the mood to talk or never want to talk about something that seems natural to you. Some don't want to be talked to at all. I nod thoughtfully. Why the sandwich thing then? If the question itself doesn't matter, why not just ask how I'm doing or something about the weather? It was the first one that came to my mind. Optimally, the question needs to be unexpected and not have an objective answer, since many students who would have been able to answer ones that can't carry conversation otherwise. From there, it's simply a matter of prodding and probing and coming to conclusions as you go. You'll probably get used to it after a while. She studies me carefully while I ponder her words. I can get what she's saying from a clinical viewpoint. Assuming she does have enough experience to tell, it can certainly be useful if she wants to avoid making a social blunder. In schools like St. D's, where everyone has their issues, it's probably a crucial skill to learn. At the same time, there's something definitely off about making that judgment of someone based off their answer to a single pointless question. What if I hadn't felt like responding? Could she just gone away pegging me down as, what, a boy with autism depression? This whole conversation could have looked at entirely different. Then again, she's a pretty blonde girl with an eye patch who goes to a special school. She probably knows all about the people judging based on her first impressions. Even I may have done it a little bit when I first saw her, and then once more when we started talking and she didn't seem to be making sense. That's another thing I should probably keep to mind, be cautious, and try not to judge people too quickly. It's hard to shake off the feeling that I'm missing something. Is this as really hard as it seems? Maybe I really should be going about introductions a bit differently from now on. The first warning bell pulls me back to reality from the way it makes Katja get up and turn and look at her watch. I'm assuming it's the same for her. Don't you have classes to attend? Yeah, don't you? She nods, getting up while I push myself off the bench, trying to keep the weight off my bad leg. This would be a terrible time to trip like an idiot. See you around or something. Likewise, I enjoyed our conversation. I turn away towards what I hope are the classes, leaving Katja behind with the vending machine. Is she gonna get her sandwich? Okay, that'll do for today. Make sure to review the notes and the boards, and we'll have a short quiz on them tomorrow. Au revoir. I don't know. I should have studied more. The sternness on his face unfaltering, the teacher slides a redoubtable pile of books back in his bag, gives us a cursory parting wave, and marches out of the room to take his break. I lean back into my seat and stretch, trying to slough off the heavy blanket of boredom that has begun to fog up my consciousness. My notebook is spotless, save for a bunch of flowers I may have doodled at some point. If there wasn't anything I cared about in the lesson, the end of the class bell must have thoroughly washed it away already. French isn't my favorite subject. I know a fair bit from back home. Mom and Dad were fluent speakers, but while I can't really say I'm awful at it, I'm not something I relish studying. The teacher's monotonous droning didn't instill any burning passion to pay any heed either. How someone manages to make learning the language of such a dreary affair, I'll never know. And so most of my classmates file immediately out of the classroom, like inmates freshly released from their scholastic prison. Their collective chatter filling the air with garbled mess of sounds. I think a few of them throw a cautious glances back at me, their faces furrowed like they are actually considering whether to approach me or not. I seem to like to go for not, and then they may have decided that I'm not worth the trouble. Fair enough, it's not like I would have known how to respond to them anyway. I prop my head on my arm and fiddle around with my notebook pages. While the people I've met up to now have each shown their share of peculiarities? I don't know. Because I know it's peculiarities? The classes themselves were surprisingly comfortably normal. We had math, English, history, among others, some same old stuff I knew back home. Same old boredom and apathy I've always felt about them. I don't know what I've been expecting, really. Was I assuming that they're going to teach us like kindergartners with colorful, easy-to-understand flashcards with little saccharine jingles to go with the lectures? I was assuming they're going to teach us simple words in slow, patient voices, hoping to make all those overblown terms digestible for our little broken minds. If I was, then those assumptions have been proven unfounded. And I'm better off knowing what they are. In some twisted, self-despective way, the taste of normalcy I doubt I can ever truly go back to again. Superficial and fleeting for sure, but acceptably pleasant nevertheless. I looked to my side and noticed the girl sitting beside me, finally stirring, rubbing her eyes on the jacket sleeve. Oh, it's her! She sweeps the room in a tentative glance, like a groundhog on the first day of spring, plucking off her earbuds and whipping out her phone. Don't tell me all I did was listen to music through all of French class. The teacher didn't really strike me as exceedingly lenient throughout his lecture, so she's either got a lot of guts or was just too bored to care. You can't blame her for the latter, though, if that's the case. Now that I've been reminded of her existence, I find myself in the same internal argument I had this morning. Should I continue my attempts at talking to her or cut my losses while I'm ahead? My efforts to get her to speak back in math class weren't very fruitful, to say the least. Perhaps that Kedja was right. You can't reasonably expect to approach every new person the same way. The girl probably noticed me taking glances as she sinks into her seat, her eyes flitting around the classroom as she desperately searching for a immediate escape route. I rummaged through my mind for something to strike up a conversation with. Hey, are you feeling okay? She doesn't answer, of course, and I instead just clutches her sleeves and shifts in her seat. Christ, think of something, Eric. Start with something inoffensive, something that put her at ease. Try to strike a common ground. The weather thing has been done to death already. I've already asked her about the music, and even that didn't go wonders for establishing a connection between us. Not that I'd know that it'd take discussion if that had continued, seeing I'm virtually musically illiterate. Getting more and more anxious by the second, she's now nervously crumpling her hands what I recognize to be an empty vending machine sandwich wrapper that had been lying around on her desk. Her gazed at me for one moment, and I spurred on the moment feeling of urgency. I blurt out the first thing that comes to my mind. So what kind of sandwiches do you like? The girl's body stiffens in a flash frozen, and the whole universe screeches to a grinding halt as I realize what just settled on my stupid mouth. The mercifully few people still left in the classroom turned in my direction. I could hear my voice shrink in embarrassment and disappointment. That sounded much better in my head. The intention was to pull off something like what Katja did during lunch, but all it does is make it crystal clear that to me, with handling social encounters, she's ahead by miles, no light years. What little color in the girl's face shrinks completely. Biting her in her lip, she could tear it right off. She looks like she'd jump off the balcony and then reciprocate my attempt at a conversation. She blinks once, twice, as if she can't believe someone would just up and ask such a thing. Truth be told, I didn't expect I'd just up and ask such a thing. I scrambled to salvage my dignity. Sorry, it's just a vending machine sandwich, isn't it? I just thought, damn it. Sentence dismissed into nothingness unfinished. Her body tense and rigid like a wooden mannequin, quivering ever so slightly like I'm the villain in some gory slash flick, and my latest unfortunate victim, cornered at the end of the dark alley. A humiliating moment of silence trickles by until she lowers her head for a fringe of dark brown hair curtaining her eyes and stands up, turning back on me. Feeling utterly defeated, all I can do is watch her as she awkwardly shuffles out of the room, her gait even stiffer than earlier, almost as if her legs had magically turned to bricks. I mentally slapped myself. What was I thinking? Jesus, Eric, you were never this socially inept. What could I have said then? What should I have said? I don't want to feel alone and excluded in this school, but it's just very difficult to do when I don't have the filmless grasp on how I should handle people here. I would ask you, I heard you still in a colony of Martian people flying around like an idiot in low gravity just to convey to them that I have come in peace. Just thinking that leaves me bitter aftertaste. God, I must sound so condescending right now. Deep breaths. That's all. It's all anxiety. My anxiety is getting the better of me once again. It was right. Then I hear muffled voices behind my seat. Huh? I turn to the source of sound. Sure enough, there it is, a tall, long-haired girl, boy, sitting behind me, clutching her stomach and her mouth, her entire body quivering so convulsively I thought she was having a seizure. They're on the verge of falling out of their seat, trying to contain their giggling before at last giving in and exploding into laughter fits. I swear and shook the whole room. What the actual hell was that about? I swear, that has got to be the worst pickup line I've ever heard in my life. Hey, knock it off. She doesn't, at least not for a while. I think she laughed for a solid minute before even showing any intention of calming down. She has rather deep and husky voice, maybe even too deep and husky for a girl, but I'm not quite enough to be indefinitely masculine. My mind stretches and contracts in various ways, wrapping itself around conundrum presented before me. A half tall, spindly build with facial features that tread precariously on the line between mild and sharp that you can't tell whether you're supposed to call them pretty or handsome. They're also wearing a female student's jacket and a caveat butts coupled with long black trousers. I feel rotten to say, but the chest area doesn't give me much of a clue either. Whoa there, darling. No need to be so serious. Life's too short to go on living like that. But oh man, Christ on a bike. I needed that laugh. Glad to have served them. Oh, come on, don't be like that. Geez, so glum. I had to give points to you, though. A lot of people give up on talking to her after the first try. She's a very skittish person. You don't say. Still, you totally want to tap that, don't you? I love this game. This unexpected question hits me like a piano dropped on from the Rocher Tower, hitting a rundown Pinto on the streets of Bastel Strat on a... Oh my gosh, this sentence. On a sultry Sunday morning, my face burns as hot as the resultant fire. What? I try to stand around and answer to shut them up, but my confusion and embarrassment only makes their features curl into a thin, mischievous leer. I can see it in your eyes, clear as day, as open as a book. I've heard it. I've had years of training reading people's faces, you know. Well, you were reading wrong. I was just trying to start a conversation. Come on, what the hell's wrong with you? My frustration leaks into my voice, causing words to come off more harshly than intended. She falls dead silent, and the room temperature plunges into nosedive. The bubbly smile drains out of her face, darkening into the cold, horrified stare that sends a twinge of panic up my spine. Should I have not said that? Probably not. I should have not said that. Ah, crap. Look, I didn't mean that to. Before I can finish my sentence, they slapped me on the shoulder and burst into a hyena-esque laughter again. Ha! Gotcha! I groan. Well, isn't this quite the life I've got myself into? How's my acting? A thespian miracle worthy of Broadway, huh? My face curls into a grimace. I didn't find it nearly as amusing as she did. I decided against rewarding them with a response. That said, I should really even be engaging this. A person to begin with. This impish light in their eyes sends various warning signs in my head, blaring at full volume. I turn away from them and begin packing my things without further comment. I think a few better ways to spend my afternoon than being mocked by a stranger. Hey, man, it's okay, I get it. No need to get all cranky now. I understand, sir. I didn't mean to sound like a total jerk, alright? just a little bit of a jerk. I like her. She's got some sass. I like it. Besides, you're too stuffy. You want to grow up to be like that French teacher dude or something? Sometimes you have to forgive a gentleman her amusements. Wait, what? Sometimes you have to forgive a gentleman her amusements. Gentle what? They snap their fingers and continue on as if the topic wasn't. I'm thinking I know what's going on here, but I'm not going to say it. Snap their fingers and continue on as the topic wasn't up for discussion in the first place. They extend a hand to me. So I'm Fran Dragovic, at your service. I'm more of a roast beef sandwich kind of person, but ham and beetroot will do the trick too. Is that your type you usually fall for? I like this person. They're my top right now. I like them just because they're fun. They never let me live this down, will she? I'm Eric, but you know that already, right? Of course, not every day we get a new face around here. A pretty one at that. Have you got any idea where you're gonna eat dinner already, Eric? I'm starving here already. Cafeteria, some fancy-ass restaurant outside campus. Cook your own, man. I wish I could cook my own food. School grub is very much hit or miss here. I raise my finger to answer, but retract it when I find no clue whatsoever. Oh, so did she just call me pretty? As for the topic for dinner, that's actually a good question. Where indeed? I know for a fact I can't possibly live my life here, staying on vending machine sandwiches. I don't know. I see, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. You've got to come with me. Simpering like a used car salesman who just quants on into a shady deal, Fran yanks me to my feet, pulling me after them with such force that I would trip to my numb leg had they not caught me in my by my other arm. Oh, sorry, love. You okay? Yes, it's all right. It's nothing. Don't mind it. Friend raised an eyebrow, but they loosen up their hold on me and then decide against inquiring further with a nonchalant shrug. Right, after me then. Huh, where to? Fran simply begins humming the tune as she waltzes out of the room with me in tow. I try to object, but she fragrantly refuses to hear me out. I think of running off, but I figure I'd rather spare myself from another embarrassment. It's not like I can get very far at the speed she can't beat. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. Keep the vocal cords moistened. You know, wet my whistle. Needless to say, I feel bad. I have a bad feeling about this. And so, voila! Welcome to our destination. I scratched my head and sigh. All throughout the 5-minute walk to my mind was running with possibilities about all the places they could have led me, and absolutely none of them were good. Even provided that I was too anxious to put a foot aside this place either today, I guess it still leagues better than what I had in mind. It's the cafeteria. Because of course it would be. What gave it away? Monsieur, oh man, I'm bad at this. Monsieur Poirier. I have so much fun with this game. The big sign says Saint Demphin's. I'm just gonna keep butchering English. Saint Demphin's Cafeteria. You were thinking I was gonna haul you off somewhere dangerous, weren't you? At the very least, it's not something reprehensible like the secret den of druggies or the ceremonial grounds of some underground satanic cult or some club for Japanese tentacle porn aficionados. Glad they added aficionados there. Well, kinda. I mean, you don't exactly strike me as a rule-abiding student. And yet you followed. How naughty. You were thinking I was going to take you someplace with just the two of us, weren't you? Where you could just, we can, you know. That I wasn't. Blah. You're no fun. Anyway, let's get some grub ready. With all the luck, all the girls might also be here. Girls who? Ignoring my question for around the 50th time, now Fran pulls me inside the cafeteria. I like Fran. The warm, inviting smell of food and fruit, of the lively chatter of students greet me at the door. Fran stands on her toes and looks around the place and waves and smiles at someone they seem then recognized in one of the building's farthest corners. Fantastic. There's our seat. but let's get our food first, deal? I nod and we join the queue in front of the counter. Curious, I try to search for whoever it is they were looking at. The current mood of moving people obstructs my view. Quite thankfully so, the line moves pretty quickly and enough we are carrying a tray of food. Fruit slices, a glass of juice, and a plate of steaming Bella. Don't know what Bella is, but we got it now. You know that the spicy Italian food, Italiano. A simple meal, but I got to admit it looks definitely more appealing than I expected. My stomach rumbles in assent. Fran takes the lead as we weave our way through the still growing mass of people. I bet she would take the lead. Ayy. We bump into a few students and probably even a teacher or two in their rush, but I'll be damned if Fran cared at all. Eventually we end up in a booth, the far nook at the cafeteria. Fran waves coolly at the lone occupant, a decadent young woman with short, well-groomed golden hair, sipping a glass of water, fiddling with her phone. Hey, girl. Goodness gracious, she's pretty. And you didn't think the other females are pretty? What the hell? What's wrong with Fran? Tap that. She seems like she's open for it. Woo! So many waifus. It's great. It's either I'm especially lucky or this school really has disproportionate volume of beautiful girls. It feels like I need a super special VIP just to be near this young lady. I think she looked a bit tense when she lifted her eyes in front of her phone to acknowledge Fran, but nevertheless, she quietly and gracefully waves back and gestures for us to take our seats. Hello, love. What's cooking? I caught our newest victim today. Natala, dear. Meet Eric. Eric, meet Natala. Natala? Yeah, I'm gonna call her Natala. Natala? Yeah, fuck it. That's what we're gonna call her. And all that. Victim? Hello, I'm new here. First day at school, in fact. Nice to meet you. I'm Fran's classmate. She invited me to have lunch here. I hope I'm not causing trouble. ... Good afternoon, Mr. Eric. It's nice to meet you, too. Welcome to the cafeteria. The greeting, though said with a conspicuous Eastern European accent and otherwise delivered with a lyrical finesse, with an air of uncrackable composure, so strikingly distant from the hubbub of our immediate surroundings. Thanks, no need to be so formal. Eric is fine. How so unlucky. I was hoping your name would have been Peter. Would be what now? I'm sorry, Peter? She nods, brows in rumination. It was wasted chance, yes. Wait, why? Great first day here, and I ran into not just one, but two tall, pretty blondes with a flair of a cryptic within a few hours of each other. Might as well buy a lottery ticket after all this. Because if you were named Peter, I could have sang, hello, Peter, welcome to the... she's one of those. No. Your attractiveness just fell like 110%, woman. Welcome to the cafeteria. Oh god. I'm dying. Oh god. Or not. Her prim, reserved smile breaks and turns into a goofy, childish giggle that shatters my first impressions of her. So hard I could hear shards crashing in my mind. What the hell is going on? Is it funny, yes? All I could afford in her in a state of utter surprise was a blank, confused stare. That is the last thing I expected to hear from her. Nah, that sucked. 2 out of 10. I agree with Fran here. Fran's got this down. Good job, Fran. Hashtag waifu Fran. I just like that sassy, smug look that she gives, like the raised eyebrow, like, yeah, you know, my name's Fran. What you gonna do about it, huh? Yeah, I'm cool. But... oh, fuck these names. Sani Chilkella? I'm gonna call her Sani, damn it. I'm just gonna shorten all these names until I finally get them. Sani laughed when I told her yesterday. A little disappointed by the less than rave reception by a few seconds, she snaps her fingers, looking like she just remembered a subject she almost forgot to bring up. Right. More importantly, would you like a croissant, Eric? Nadala quickly pushes her plate over to my side of the table, her eyes almost sparkling as they lock onto me in expectation. What? I mean, thanks for the offer, but what for? Well, a gift to remember our first meeting by, I guess. Are you really sure? Eric? Now his eyes flit furtively back and forth between me and the cafeteria counter. My concern and suspicion must have shown on my face. Since her smile cracks a little bit and her voice becomes tinged with urgency. No, please. I am doing it. I'm doing and insist. I do this with all my new acquaintances, and now we are acquaintances too. So there, boom. Also, can you please eat it right now, please? Like quick. I'm concerned. If this is a hazing or something, it's a very strange one. Maybe I really just got myself into a sketchy cult after all. Right, now, what? Natasha, what are you doing? A voice with similar distinctive Russian accent. Is this your... Oh, this is the twins, right? If I remember this fan art correctly in some of the pages I read. Yo, Sophia! Boom! Fran and Sophia, boom! I turn my head to find yet another young blonde girl standing beside me. Quite a bit shorter and has far longer hair, but no means any less pretty for it. Hey! What's up, waifu number, like, 27? Her arms are folded in front of her, drumming her fingers in her sleeve. I like her outfit. It's snazzy. As she glares at Nadala with an exasperated look after the latter having nothing but a nervous smile for reply. Hello, sis. You should just give him Russian. You promised me not to eat. You promised me you're to eat better now, right? Yes, but Mom and Dad would to worry if they hear you skip meals again. Surely you do not want it. Hello, Blazes. No fuck is he? Fucking terrible. I shouldn't be playing a game so serious. Well, to be fair, the moment's not serious at the moment, so I think I'm good to crack some jokes. Of course, I am very sorry. Now sister sighs in dismay, her gaze shifting to Fran. The latter puts up their hands in defense. Hey, don't blame me. I was gonna stop him, but Eric accepted it after all, so it's totally on him. What? No passing the buck? But I guess I did almost accept it, but still. The sister's features begin to soften from annoyance to apology as she acknowledges my presence with a nod and sets her food tray across from me, taking her seat beside Nadala. I lay the croissant sandwich on the table and clear my throat. Hello there, mister. I'm hoping my sister was not much trouble for you. No, not at all. I'm sorry. Is there a problem? Well, how do you say it? Natasha should not really skip meals right now. It is, well, what the doctor told us. Oh, does she have an eating disorder? Ah. As expected of a smooth, suave guy like myself, I immediately draw a blank and then seize it. Draw a blank the size of Jupiter as to where to take the conversation from that bit of information. Thankfully, Sophia takes charge quickly enough, reaching out for a handshake with an airy but perfectly unruffled smile. But I'm being rude now. My name is Sophia. Vodka. Going, it's Volkova. Nadala's sister. It's glad to meet you. Your name is... Eric. Eric Wilhelm. Nice to meet you too. We're twins, Eric. Boom. Yeah, well, I sort of figured. Twins, huh? Hair and eye color aside, they don't really look that similar. Nadala's face has a much milder contour than Sophia's, has sharper cat-like features to her. I like the longer hair girl more compared to it, but I think Fran looks like Bay number 1, like sass. Among a few other noticeable discrepancies in her physique, let's just assume they're her fraternal twins and call it a day. Nala gingerly pulls back her croissant and eats, still daintily slicing it with her knife into pieces, nibbling on each little cut much like a little hamster. Do you want some fruit too, Natasha? Thanks, alright. Doesn't seem like it's all right, but she takes a few slices of apples and tangerines from Sophia's tray. So you are the new student, Fran. Yesterday said to transferring in his class, right? Yep, that kind of, because there's his and her going with it. So maybe Fran has gender dysphoria? Is that considered a mental disorder still? I don't know. So you were the new student, Fran yesterday said transferring in his class, I assume. Yeah, that would be me, most likely. Strange how Fran got a hold of info about my move here before I even arrived. I'll never know. Is she in cahoots with Irene? Maybe. It seems kind of likely. Their personalities are quite similar. I'm not a student here myself, but I visit Natasha often to make sure she's doing well. So you're telling me I can't tap that? Damn it. Will it be hard for Natasha to adjusting here, you think? I still don't know about that. I've only arrived here yesterday myself. Was that so? This is so interesting. You two are quite in the same boat then. Swallowing her food, Nadala arranges her features into a smile and rejoins the conversation, nodding enthusiastically to confirm Sophia's statement. It's very difficult to make many new friends in here, especially since we're new. I tried to go to lunch with some of my classmates a few days ago, but well, they are plenty of nice and friendly, but when I am with them, how do you say it? I kind of feel like square hole entering a round peg. Other way around. Peg round entering a whole square. Okay, I'm gonna go against the eating disorder thing. I don't know. I'm trying to like guess these mental disorders, but I'm not sure. Sophia's palm meets her face, swift as lightning. But yes, horrible jokes aside, Nadala is right about her. Nadala is right. It is her first time out of Russia, and we're still, or is it just because she doesn't speak English all that well? I don't know. I don't want to assume things. I feel bad. It's our first time in Russia, and we're still ways to go for learning English. We do not speak German at all. Waifu simulator. Just fitting in is very insanely difficult, making new friends much, much more. Huh? Now there's a kindred spirit. In fact, that's exactly what had been bugging me all day, isn't it? Many of these students here have already had years to get to know each other and hundreds of thousands of moments worth of experiences shared, and as a result form their little tight-knit groups. Newcomers like us suddenly appearing and forcing ourselves on them would be like dropping a raw ingredient into an already cooked dish. We'll never really belong. From that particular point of view, it's really sad. And that is exactly why we are newcomers and we need to support each other, right? Yeah, why the hell not? Right, sure. Exactly, Eric understands, so we should be friends, okay? We can be friends, right? We can hang out at lunch here, talk about things, and even share jokes. I practice a lot of jokes before going here. Want to hear one? Want to hear one? I like these people. Somehow her deep emerald eye is piercing my very soul, telling me she's going to make me hear the joke anyway. Consequences be damned. Oh, shoot. Away. Her face lights up, reminds me of a kid pressing her nose on a shop window looking at the shiny new toy on the display. So straightforward and earnest, I think it's quite cute. Okay, here goes. Get ready. Why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 ain't 9, right? Oh. And just like that, her exhilaration vanishes like a pop balloon. She puffs her cheeks out like an annoyance and fixes me with a durst glare she can muster. It's supposed to be intimidating, I think, but its downright effectiveness as gesture looks less of an object dread and more of an amused chuckle. But I should be the one giving out the punchline, Eric. That's how the joke works. Sorry, but it's really, really old joke, you know. It's probably one of the first jokes I heard in English, even. Don't mind Natasha. She likes to think she's witty. It helps her with her improvements of English, she says. But it is funny. Hey, that's not as bad as her joke last week about giraffes and Rasputin. So maybe we shouldn't be so hard on her. That is true. It is your fault for not recognizing a good joke. You should not be so hard on me. Soft instead. Because your name is Sophia? These puns! boy. On the other hand, we should not encourage this sort of behavior. Anyways, Eric, what have you? You have a joke of your own? What, me? I don't know. Come on, don't be a buzzkill now, darling. Do me proud. Surely you brought along some of that authentic Swiss humor to share with us, huh? Not exactly. The only things I brought here with me are Vienna, crippling anxieties, existential fears, and Mom's totally uncool knitted sweaters. Hey, don't hate on your mom's knitted sweaters, dude. Even so, I racked my brain to recall any joke I could. The first thing that comes to my mind is I heard Gustav telling Beatrice over breakfast a few days ago. Wait, the first thing that comes to mind, I heard Gustav telling Beatrice over breakfast a few days. I thought Gustav's gone. Let's see, well, what did the cheese, let's see, well, what did the cheese say when it saw itself in the mirror? Yes, what? Halloumi. Oh, hello, me. As expected, it's probably like a type of cheese, isn't it? I expected the first few seconds to joke received with only lukewarm, polite smiles from Fran and Sophia. Yeah, just because my life right now feels like a really shitty joke didn't really make me feel any more of a comedian. Thankfully, I'm saved from the further humiliation by Nala spontaneously bursting out into laughter. Is there anything that doesn't immediately send this girl blasting up into Cloud 9? Hey, there's no problem with being happy. At first blush, you'd certainly peg her as someone graceful and elegant. That's what I thought, for one. Looking at her now, though, she seems less like a regal young lady and more like a kid growing up uptown for the first time. Sophia, on the other hand, just shakes her head. Being sisters, she's probably had years of experience with this. It's not that funny, I know. No, it's not. You're not good. You are not good teller of jokes, Eric. Hey, look who's speaking. But you did your best. I praise that. She smiles, the smile of a mother gives a child to encourage him after they had a just horribly messed up test. It only serves to make me more disappointed in my admittedly terrible joke cracking abilities. Oh dear. Oh dear, why are we here? If it's fine to ask, where are you from, Eric? Finally, a line of conversation I can get behind. I'm from Switzerland, Basel City, to be exact. Pretty nice place, I guess. And where in Russia are you guys from? St. Petersburg, yes. But I think it should be called St. Petersburg, you know, like iceberg. Because very cold. Yeah, Russia. Boom. How is your opinion of Vienna so far, Eric? Let's see. My sisters took me sightseeing around the city yesterday, but I don't think I've seen enough of it to form a solid opinion yet. At least, I guess. It looks really nice. Very lively. We're thinking amazing place. Also, the food is also very good. We're thinking amazing place also. The food is also very good. I'm looking forward to try cooking of the new dishes I saw here. Oh, you're into cooking! Just a bit. There's a glint of pride in her eyes as she says that, so I'll be assuming that her interest and most likely her experience and skill in the field is not actually limited to just a bit. You should bring some of your food here too sometime. Sanichka. Sonya's food can send people to heaven, Eric. Miss Fran. Are you saying my cooking is lethal? The effective offense in Sophia's tone flusters Nala, who is realizing the implications of her previous statement. Hurriedly and panically stutters out an apology. What? Niet. That's not what I meant. It's really delicious. Her embarrassment and subsequent clumsy apology make Sophia and Fran laugh, and even I soon join in. The rest of the lunch goes on pleasantly, as we regale each other with stories of our hometowns and impressions of Vienna and the school, and Natalia interjection with the occasional lame joke. I begin to lose track of time, with only a ringing bell to remind me that I have lunch break has went to a close. There's a bell. We should be going, yes. Natasha, you might miss remedial class. Remedial, does that mean she's stupid? I'm joking. She seems like a very pleasant person. And Fran, I need to learn more about Fran, but I'm liking Fran. Fran's great. And nice to see you, nice to see you, Miss Fran, Frank, Eric. Damn it. So you go from Miss and he's. Fran's a boy, silly. Huh? What are you talking about, Sonic Show? Miss Fran is Miss Fran. Fran's a boy. A girl. Boy. But that's not right. Tell Sonic Show she's wrong, Miss Fran. Fran merely smiles at this little argument, very much entertained. I throw an ahem into the inquisitive glance. I've been asking myself that question this whole afternoon, but they hasn't really shown any evidence to confirm or disprove either case. I don't know, it depends on the weather. You know, kids, be off now. Tell Mr. Zeng I said I. Put it like that, she doesn't seem like she'll be telling us anytime soon. I think it doesn't seem like I'll be telling anytime soon. The fox grin on their face tell me they're savoring every last drop of the utter bewilderment. Well then, see you later, Sophia Nadala. I don't speak Russian. I should actually get my Russian friend to read that. I have no clue what that says. It's very nice meeting you. We give them a wave as we go. Fran turns to me with a wide smile. Oh dear, Fran, what could you possibly say with such a smug look on your face? Now that wasn't too bad, was it? You've got new friends. A new guy should be out there exploring instead of moping around in the dummy or something, sweetheart. I love that smug face that Fran gives. Just look how great it is. It's just like, oh really? You really want to say that? That's a great reaction face. You're gonna spend nearly a year here wasting all your time in dumps that might kill you. Yep, dead as a fly and a cup of a morning Joe. You don't need to speak to me like I'm a child or something. And stop calling me sweetheart. Roger Honeycakes. Friend's great. Friend's great. But yeah, you're right. I guess they're not bad at all. This answer visually pleases Fran. That's the news I want to hear. She pats my back and gives me a delicious smile. Delicious, damn it. Devious smile. I see you're still a bit jittery, but don't you worry about the thing, Eric Wilhelm. Trust me, I have a feeling we're gonna have a grand time together. That may or may not be so, but I only hope right now that I come out of this alive afterward. So is Fran seems like he comes off as both. So who is Fran? I mean, I'd hit Fran, not physic. I tap that. Let's just. Fran looks like a tappable person. I have no problem saying that. It is perfectly fine to say you tap a person if you don't exactly know their gender. That is perfectly fine, okay? Do not judge me. There may not be so, but only hope right now is to come out of this alive afterward. Ooh, bikes. We going home? The sun already is about to set by the time Fran got bored of the cafeteria and dragged me back to outside. I like Fran. I don't know what Fran is, but that doesn't matter. And if ruthless teasing after French class wasn't enough, Fran continued pressing my comfort levels with conversation. It started with a simple back and forth about ourselves and somehow meandered into an anecdote about losing virginities. Ah, great. I fucking love Fran. So then I decide if it's going to happen at all, then it needs to be before vacation ends, and I have to go back to Vienna. So me and my best friend at the time, we went around to our neighborhood, hitting it up every boy we knew, and you wouldn't believe what happened. I have a feeling you're going to tell me. They all got scared. One boy couldn't even make up his mind, asked for some time, and gathered up his nerves. I mean, really, with two babes who in their right mind wouldn't want to. A grin and a flutter of her eyebrows demand an answer. Fran seems to like putting people on the spot. Either I act disgusted or envious of all of her childhood friends or propositioned. Either way, they get a laugh at my expense. Only an imbecile. My correct answer gets me a quick chuckle. At least I didn't go far enough as saying, gee, I wish I knew you back then. I would have said that. I'm sarcastic as fuck, though, so I'm not sure I'm able to handle the consequences. So then what happened? My friend and I decided to take care of things ourselves. Oh, dear. Oh. Oh! Fran snorts. That was the reaction they were hoping for. So what about you? Well, wait, how long have you been here for again? Oh no, you don't tell me. You're still some kissless virgin at this age? Sorry, I like to keep myself mysterious for now. Yep, sounds like something a kissless virgin would say. I don't reward them with a reply, knowing anything I say can be used against me in a court of law. The conversation changes direct 3 or 4 times. Our seemingly aimless stroll progresses, going from mopeds to mobile phones to permanent markers. I may look like I'm following Fran like a lost puppy, but really it's the other way around. They found a shiny new thing outside and they're going to get it her playtime, and while it's still interesting. I do feel fortunate enough making friends can't be easy here, and I wouldn't surprise at me if a few students had tend to avoid making lasting connections. Well, I'm not on a roll. I should try getting to know more people. Someone as energetic as Fran. Damn it, man. Possibly gets bored easily, and I'm not totally sure I can decipher any more of Natalie's puns or Irene's whatever you call that. Hey, so how often do they collect homework again? It depends. I usually just copy down the answers when we review them in class. Ah, Eric, there you are. Damn it. I'm trying to tap Fran. You're getting on my game here. Look, I'm this close. I'm gonna smash, okay? Man, get off my case. I see Miss Clay's walking up to us. A pile of books in her arm. She tries a congenial smile, but I think a passing expression of concern flits across her face. She recognizes my companion. I'll see you later. You too, Fran. Damn it. Fran tenses up for a moment and takes a breath and relaxes their posture and their preparation of having to talk herself out of a situation. I get the feeling that exercise is this skill too often. Mr. Wilhelm, I'm pleased to see that you've made friends so quickly. Given her tone, I'm expecting a but. Thank you. Of course, we're always glad to see our students adjusting well, but it's important you understand the unique circumstances many of your peers face. There's something canned about this line, something well rehearsed in the delivery. I'm sorry? Miss Clay sighs and then continues with a bit more sincerity. No, I'm the one at fault here. This is conversation that's something I normally cover prior to start school year. It's easy to forget that some students don't respond well to social pressure. Some don't respond at all, although we'd like to see these students learn to function in a typical environment. It's not something you can force on them. She's saying you need to handle people here with kid gloves. Miss Clays gives a Fran a disapproving glance before turning her eyes back to me. In a sentence, yes. On that subject, Fran, you could afford to educate your peers on this rather than make a spectacle of it. Miss Kohler heard that from your class. Mr. Kohler had heard it from your classmates and was very disappointed in your behavior. I'm sorry, Miss Clays. I assure you it was entirely out of my control this time. I'm sorry, but I'm not certain I follow. Am I not supposed to be talking to other people? Of course not. All I'm saying is to use a little more caution with how you approach people. A few minor observations can go a very long way, and you can always ask your friends about the best how to handle these things. Her friend, arms crossed, her gaze slides back to Fran. Can I trust you with that? Fran's smile was disconcertingly well crafted. Of course. Where's the smug look? We need the smug look right now. Miss Clay's expression tells she's no more convinced than I am, but apparently it was as far as she was willing to pursue the topic. In any case, you mean well enough. I'm sure you'll find a balance soon enough. With all of that out of the way, there's still a few items left to address here. Have you been addressed by a student ID yet? No. You will need to be photographed then. Is it a mandatory? No, but it is helpful to have some photographic record that shows something unfortunate happened. I wonder what that unfortunate something she's talking about. She's finding me face down in the Danube, or what they put on wanted posters at the borders. I go to the front office for that. The school newspaper can take care of that. Room 160. Damn it. Miss Clay turns her glares towards Fran. Fran, you are still a member of the newspaper club, are you not? Yes, ma'am. How can I be of service? There's the smug look. Yes. It'd be appreciated if you could see that Mr. Wilhelm takes his way there safely. Fran snaps her their heels together. Notice that it's not his or her, it's there. So I think that's... Oh, and it says, I don't understand. It just keeps switching terms. Give me a straight answer. What is Fran? Fran snaps... I know that's a stupid question. We know what Fran is. Fran snaps their heels together and does a word of salute with the back of their hand smacking her forehead. I do like Fran, though. Fran's great. Thy will be done. We exit briskly as the teacher would give chase. Friends or not, I'm glad I have someone showing me how they get where I'm going. Everyone else already knows their way around, and being the new guy, I'll be a disadvantage for a while. So you're in the school newspaper. I wear many hats, darling. Wait, isn't that it there? Oh, we're really going there, I suppose, if you have to. The room that the newspaper club uses doesn't look like it's used for regular lessons. Up against the walls are shelves stocked with tubs of crusty old art supplies, posters that have faded to blue over time, and rows of computer terminals. In the center of the room is a cluster of tables littered with notebooks and pencils. The disorganization adds flavor to a school that seems too stately for its own good. A breath of fresh air against the step 4 level neatness of the other rooms. Aside from Fran and myself, I see only 3 students here, and they don't look like they want to be disturbed. At one of the computers is whom I assume to be the teacher in charge. She looks like she wants to be at my sister's age and smells of strawberries. Why are you smelling people, dude? Well, not like actual fresh strawberries, but the artificial flavoring from strawberry candies. Hey! Can we tap you as well? I really don't know what you did there. Are you sure you didn't mess with the settings? I'm joking. I shouldn't say tapping everyone. But hey, it's fair to ask. What if you like your woman a little bit older? Hey? Yeah. I'm just saying. Just saying. A muffled response from somewhere in the room denies responsibility. Well, save your work and try another computer later. I'll get the IT to look at it this weekend. The woman shoves the troublesome keyboard away, having decided to make the computer into someone else's problem. Oh, sorry, I was just in the middle of something. How can I help you? Special delivery. Oh, you wrote something? Well, no, writer's block and all, but I do have something just as good. A new student. Oh, you must be Eric, am I right? Everyone knows Eric. I feel so popular. It's more popular than I was in high school. That's saying something. Also, far more many girls want to talk to me in this than the other solution. I've read your file for Miss Clay's class, right? My legend precedes me, apparently. I'm Hertha Wick. I'm gonna call her Wick. Wick. And this is my news. And here's the newspaper and publication club. Are you interested in joining? Maybe, but I'm told this is where I can get my photo taken. Of course, we do both ID and yearbook photos. Would you like to do that both today? Yearbook 2, I figured I missed the chance to be in the year's edition. Yeah, I think I'm as ready as I'll ever be to take a picture. Great. I'll see that Lena can help you out. Why not Fran? Fran suddenly checks her phone to see if they have an excuse to leave. If they have an excuse to leave and pretend they found one. Well, love, that's my cue to go. Fran hastily scribbles down a number on a scrap piece of paper hereby and tosses it to me. Text me if you need rescue. Oh, well, okay. Can I make that hotline blink, Fran? I tried to see Fran take off so abruptly after clinging to me most of the afternoon. Either way, they just hit their boredom threshold or something got them spooked. I look around to see if any of the other students are Lena, but Miss Wick isn't heading over talking to them. Instead, she turns to the desk just beyond a line of cabinets and addresses a spindly pair of booted legs sticking from underneath the desk. Dang it. Lena, we have a new student here. Would you like to take care of him, please? Lena's legs lay motionless for a moment, pretending not to have heard Miss Wick, but they eventually stir to life when it becomes clear that I'm not going away. Oh, it's this chick. Hey, girl. Her joints pop and crack as she unfolds into a standing position. Lena's arms swing around to stretch, her head lazily circles so she can make sure she's attached correctly. I like this music. Lena's almost as tall as I am, built with long legs and skinny... Maybe this is why she left. And skinny, nearly flat torso. If it wasn't for her name, I'd probably have mistaken her for a boy. Looks like she works out as well as based on her broad shoulders. Then there's the mask, a fitted a metal device with a small opening for her mouth, but not a whole lot of room for much else. I'm trying really hard not to stare at the mask, but I can't help it. It's protected. Is it protected gear for something she was doing inside the cabinet? I don't see any sort of filtering element, and the mask looks like it's as Bedspook is as functional. Maybe it's a mouth guard for some sport like ice hockey or boxing. Maybe she drills a lot. Maybe she bites. She shakes the drowsiness out of her system and locks her piercing green eyes at me. Hi, I'm Eric. She snorts. So I've heard. I've just started today. She gives me a quick once-over and assessing my new student status. Speaking the Dutch. Lena's brow crinkles as she laughs. Oh, I thought I was funny. She picks up a folder stuffed with loose papers off the counter and hands it to me. I want the English ones translated into German and the German ones translated into English and the French ones in the trash. Actually, Eric was here to get his photos taken. Don't do it. The cameras here will steal your soul. We'd get that fixed, but the warranties are expired. I'd really appreciate if you could help me with that while I sort out the mess with the computers. Okay, but it'll cost you dearly. I can see why Fran left so easily. These two of us go over to Miss Wick's desk. Lena drags out one of those stands that hold up a projector screens. She draws down a blank looking backdrop with a modded blue and white cloudy pattern. Basically generic school picture format 101. I take my place in front of the background and Lena shoves me around by the shoulders before screwing a rather beat up looking camera into an equally worn looking tripod. Okay, first your ID card. Say whiskey. Whiskey. And now for the yearbook. Oh no, you can do better than that. Is there something wrong? Obviously nobody ever uses that backdrop for their good photos. Do you really want the most important photo of your life having you look like you're square? Well, I don't mind. Miss Wick wrestles with her yearbook out of her tightly packed bookshelf and cracks a stiff seldom turn. Pages open to the desk in front of me. Here, most people opt for casual photos. Actually, most people opt for out entirely. I did. Sush, your picture's included this year. However, my objections without my consent, my dad is a lawyer and he'll have your head for this violation of my civil rights. Your father purchased a yearbook along with the school purchase, and that's what he's going to get. He wants to see how lovely his offspring has become, and last I checked, he was an architect. Indeed, the majority of the yearbook photos appear to have been taken at various outdoor locations around the school, with each student out of uniform. A few do pose in front of the backdrop, but they do make up for the blandness for some of the special outfits, like an authentic humor. Damn it! athletic uniform or academic medals. I would have been the plainest photo in the book. See now, don't these look better? Flipping along, I find a plain page near the end with scores of faceless names crammed into a section by year that is so clear that it needs to be saving printing costs. Outweigh the desire to have designated selected. Oh Jesus! Dedicated to students who are unable and unwilling to show up for picture day. So how about you two go off somewhere nice for Eric's picture? Who knows? You may even find a friend. Actually, the school's pharmacist says I don't need friends or on my prescription anymore. It turns out they give me a rash. I think that's enough for this episode, honestly, because this has been going on for, I don't know how long this episode's been going on for. But I'm enjoying this demo. This is actually a very lengthy demo. I'm actually very, very impressed. It's not even feeling like a demo, honestly. I'm scared of when it's going to end. I'll be sad. But as always, guys, I'll see you guys in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm SerDanceNext, and I'll see you.